Okay, my outstanding friends, it's of course Roger once again, and you know I sort of make light of things, and make jokes and so forth, but this is going to be very serious. I was just came up to make sure my video went up correctly. I just put it up. I only have 13 views. Top experts say monopoles have never been seen, but you are now looking at them. Now, so I'm looking at it to make sure everything's all right, and this ad pops up. Normally I just jump through them, but look what it says. Borrowed future, how student loans are killing the American dream. Official trailer 2021. So I see this, it says the dark truth, watch now. This is near and dear to my heart because these kids are not learning anything that's going to help them as far as geology, physics, history. There's a whole ton of things that they are being said, you have to repeat what I say, and it's not right. And they should know this by now that it's not right. Either that or the institutions, the universities, they're not doing their job. I've been trying to contact them over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and everybody knows that. I have thousands of videos. I have virtually tried to contact everybody that's talking about these things, and I have made contact with a few and been rebuked by everybody. So what they're talking about is right. And then they talk, I went to look at the site, and we're going to go look at it now, and they say the system is rigged against these kids. They're using them for a source of income. Listen to this now. This is serious. Borrowed Future uncovers the dark side of the student loan industry, exposes how the system is built to work against you. You're taking out a loan in hopes of making more income than it costs you to take that loan out. The problem is that unless you learn a skill, which you don't need to go to college to learn a skill. You learn a trade and a skill, you're good to go. You go to college just for a general degree, you literally have nothing. And I'm serious, you have nothing. Now, people say to me, how can they get away with not paying attention to this stuff you're showing? I'm showing about the geology that was literally biology. I'm showing the light research, which shows you can speed up and slow down light and split them and neutrinos and all of that stuff. I'm showing all of that. And over and over and over. And not to have even any return engagement shows me that there is no interest. Because I'm not presenting theories, just hypotheticals of what about this and how about that and what if the earth is flat and all that insane stuff. I'm saying, here's my physical evidence. Tell me why I'm right or tell me why I'm wrong, one way or the other. And I've been doing this for years and years now. So, and what they're doing is they're taking advantage of the kids by keeping them sewed up into nonsense that they're just walking around in circles now, basically. It's crazy. Okay, my friends, as I showed you or will show you, this was advertised on my channel. And I thought, boy, this is interesting. Borrowed Future, how student loans are killing the American dream. I agree with that 100%. And what they're being taught is not correct anyway. So even if they were getting something for their loans, they're not getting anything. The things they're being taught about geology and about physics and history, not right at all. If you can get a trade from what you do going to school, but to say you have to have all this basic stuff before we'll let you learn how to be smart. No. All that stuff was just wasted time and money. That's the stuff you got to get rid of. Show me how to be a technician. Show me how to do electronics. Show me how to do this or that, which is material stuff. I'm a material scientist. You should come to me or talk to me about, not, oh, well, we're going to find wormholes and this and that. Show me the wormhole. Show me how it happens. Show me what the interaction is. Show me why it's wormy. Show me why it's holy. That's what I want to see, and that's what I show. This is a disaster, and it's a tragedy for the kids. And as far as I'm considered right now, it's either the most unbelievable amount of gross incompetence, which I can't believe. Or it's, you have to get close to that fraud word. And the reason is because of peer pressure, peer review. If you don't agree with what everybody else agrees with, which will keep you employed, then you will lose your job because you will not be employed. They'll stay employed. You won't be. That's the problem. It's rigged against everybody. And it's against the kids in every which way. They're going to steal from them on lending the money to them to say, oh, don't worry, you get a good job. Oh, this will be fabulous. Everything will be great. Yeah, don't worry about it. I would say get yourself a trade. All right, so this is Roger, the fair user, the fairest fair user in the land, by the way. Now, I am going to play this. This is the Ramsey Show highlights. Very, very interesting topic for me. Now, I'm going to open this up. Like I say, Ramsey. Remember that name. They sound like good people to me so far. That's fine. But you don't have to learn fake history and fake geology and fake physics and fake all the rest of the crazy stuff that they don't even have a clue about it. And they say you have to repeat these words or you're not. Well, hold on. Watch this. Okay, I go to all the different universities. Basically, I'm not kidding you, a lot of them. Because you can go for free. This is free. This is Yale courses. You come up here, he's got a whole ton of them. This is Professor Shankar. Nice guy. And he's being honest. He's telling them, we have no idea anything about quantum physics. Wait till you hear what he has to say. This is Yale University. Now, I took particle physics at University of Geneva. And I showed them about our particle accelerator. And it is a particle accelerator. It's light. We did what they wanted to do and never could do. But they're locked into hitting protons head on. We're using light. So anyway, here's what he has to say about quantum physics. If you think they know what they're talking about, listen to this. And he's one of the only guys that's been honest. And he doesn't want these kids going home and just crying. Listen, watch.
So this is a very exciting day for me because today we're going to start quantum mechanics and that's all we'll do till the end of the term. Now I got bad news and good news. The bad news is that it's a subject that's kind of hard to follow intuitively, and the good news is that nobody can follow it intuitively. Richard Feynman, one of the big figures in physics, used to say no one understands quantum mechanics. So in some sense the pressure is off for you guys because I don't get it and you don't get it and Feynman doesn't get it. The point is, here's my goal. Right now I am the only one who doesn't understand quantum mechanics. In about 7 days all of you will be unable to understand quantum mechanics. Then you can go back and spread your ignorance everywhere else. That's the only legacy a teacher can want. So,
what can I say? I could have said it better myself, Professor Shankar. Okay, so we got a problem with student debt, and I believe that not only is the student debt, that they're really being taken to the cleaners. The people that are supposed to be doing the job of training them in the most recent research are not keeping their eye on the most recent research, which is mine. I've been showing this stuff. If they will speak to me, I certainly have been begging them to speak to me. Now, this brings us to a little bit of a legal issue. They are selling, literally selling, a degree. They're selling them a degree. And the more money you pay, the more, like Harvard and Yale and all these real fancy names, that's where you get the degree where everybody's going to want to hire you because they think you're so smart. Well, here's the deal. There's a thing called a fiduciary relationship. Now, I have 165,000 subscribers and some lawyers, and they've talked to me about what universities should do as far as fiduciary relationships with their students. Now, normally fiduciary relationship means like somebody's handling your money. They're taking care of your money. You don't want them using it for their own purposes and taking it so your life is worse and their life is better. That's a breach of fiduciary duty, and that is legal. Now, so a fiduciary relationship is a relationship in which one party places special trust. So the student places special trust in their university, and confidence, and reliance, and is influenced by another, which obviously is the university, who has a fiduciary duty to act for the benefit of the party. Now, I say that that's not happening, not at all. It's just exactly the opposite. They refuse to engage. They only want to teach them what they were told to teach them. They don't want to look at any of the new information that I have shown. And it's, again, it's solid material evidence. Nothing fake here. I have nothing but material evidence. So I see them as in breach of their fiduciary duty. And so do the lawyers I've talked to. So as I spoke to them, they said, no, you really can't bring any suit against them. It would have to be a class action lawsuit brought by somebody that was, an injured party. Somebody that was, I didn't pay these people. That goes back 50 years ago, I paid them. And then I said, this is just ridiculous. So anyway, and then I went in and I got a trade. I had a trade. I knew I wanted to get really involved and, boy, this is fabulous. We're learning so much today. No, you learn what you're told to learn. And that's when I said, enough for me. So anyway, I'm seeing this as a legal issue right now with all of the top universities for certain. They have refused, absolutely denied my overtures with evidence to say, please, can we correspond? No, we won't correspond with you. Same thing with the government. Fermilab. I've shown them, if you can deny my light research, please do. All right, I've been begging for this for years. I'm seeing fiduciary failures everywhere. Who's the government, who's Fermilab supposed to be working for, them or us? They're spending money like water off a waterfall. And I showed them the particles they're looking for. So what's that all about? All right, let's get back to how the students are being treated. This is really a tragedy that's got to be addressed. Who do you get to address this? I've even tried to contact government agencies, news outlets, and virtually every top university. 100% refusal to engage, 100%. And it's for their own self-interest. It's not to be doing their fiduciary duty, saying, oh, we can't listen to you because it might break our brains or something. What do they show me I'm wrong? All right, we're going to go back to the Ramsey show. I feel terrible for these kids. I went into college right after I got out of the Army on the GI Bill, so I didn't have to pay anything. I never had a penny of debt in any of this stuff. So I can't imagine, once they find out what, if they've been paying any attention to what I've been showing, and they open their mind up to it. But I'm going to tell you what, most of these kids are so brainwashed now that when you show them anything, they get so upset. They really do. They get upset. And then and they say, where's the peer review? Where's the peer review? I want to see a peer review. That's all I ever hear. I'll listen. And they have been damaged. I'm telling you right now. Listen.
Always been certain is the...
A very strange day is coming to America. In short, a massive and surprising new transition could soon determine the next group of millionaires while leaving...
$1 million. I'm going to tell you right now, it's time for a class action lawsuit just to say, no more, we're not paying these bills. I just heard something about they're starting to try to give student loan forgiveness, and they're blocking it in the Senate or something. I got to look into that. Listen to this. What student loan borrowers need to know after a federal court struck down Biden's forgiveness program. I don't think the government should have to pay for this. I think the schools should for being not doing their job. This was just a couple of days ago. So they're not going to help the kids. Student loan borrowers are now waiting indefinitely to see if they will receive debt relief. They should receive it from the colleges that, I say, fraudulently used them for income and did not do their fiduciary duty. That's if they were, and the reason they go there is to increase their income. So as far as I'm concerned, they're looking after their finances just as much as they're looking after their brain. And they're breaking their brain and they're breaking their finances both at the same time. Okay, I think this guy was talking about, he went into history thinking he could make some, he'd be a professor or something, but he has really nothing after doing this. Listen.
You did this to chase the American dream that we all cherish.
People are alive but not living.
This is not the way the American dream is set up.
Here I am, 36. I have $1 million in student loans.
Every piece in the system did what it was supposed to do. And the victims are 17 years old.
The stories all come down to one thing. How has this happened to me when I did everything right?
All right, what do you hear? Go to college, you gotta get a good education, you gotta get educated, well, how do you do that? You have to pay a hell of a lot of money. And then when you find out they didn't do their job, you're still gonna pay them? I wouldn't. I got a feeling it's time for this, and I don't think the government should be the one giving the money back either. Like I said, that's not right. The ones that should give the money back is the people that took the money and did not do their job. And that is literally every university. It's a full class action lawsuit against one and all, as far as I'm concerned. And everybody that's gone for these basic forced classes, which is your base. You have to be trained on this, and this before we can even tell you how to be smart. No, that's you. If you took on a material, trade, basically, something that you could put your hands around, that's different. But if you just went for the things that they said, you have to take these courses, these are required, then I say that money should be returned. Especially it's geology, physics, history, those three absolutely for sure. And the other ones are on the margins. Okay, like I said, I am not an injured party, but this appears pretty obvious to me. Academic fraud is plagiarism is one thing. The deliberate falsification of things, misstatements is more academic fraud. Alteration of evidence or data. Now, here's where I come in. The deliberate suppression of relevant evidence or data. I have relevant evidence and data, and I am being suppressed. That goes to academic fraud. Or else you can use the deliberate misappropriation of research work and data of others. All I care about is the suppression of relevant evidence, which I have produced. That, to me, looks like academic fraud. Academic fraud looks like an injured party, whoever was academically frauded. That looks to me like every student in all those classifications I have talked about, because of the suppression of the relevant evidence, is systemic. It is not just to one or the other. It's all of them. Systemic. All right, so I would go and ask for my money back, tell them, see what happens. This is academic fraud. So there's a lot of injured parties. This would be a huge class action lawsuit. And they should just give away that, this student loan is just insane. These kids' lives are destroyed, absolutely destroyed. They'll be living on the street with a PhD. All right, my particle physics research changes physics completely because everything's a dipole. This is geology. This is not just a rock. This is a foot of a creature we don't know about yet. It's called a noto. has all the same characteristics as a normal foot. It's got the tibia comes down here, the fibula comes over here, which just falls off. But the toes are included inside of its enclosure. It's not a shoe. And we have a lot of these. DNA tested, CAT scan. I know the process, how these things solidify. I refuse to speak with anybody about this. And I've tried everybody. And I'm right down the street, basically, from Yale. They won't look at them. So who's right and who's wrong here? I say the kids are being misserved here if they won't look at these kind of things that are right in front of their face. So that's my opinion. All right, this is particle physics. I understand it perfectly. I understand this is the muon, this is electron, neutrino, this is light, photons. This is our research we did, and I understand this is called dipole electron flood theory, and everything it consists of is this. The whole universe is made of these particles, and it turns out to be what's called atomic vapor. We actually did fission and fusion. Muons turned into sterile muons. Electron neutrinos turned into showers. Here's the sterile muons. The black balls walked away from the white turned into the showers. Precisely what CERN and Fermilab want. That wasn't my picture. That was from Fermilab, I believe. And here's what Fermilab shows as the particles. That's what we found. So I'm not talking just spouting off steam. I want this seen.